Alright, so we're doing exercise 5b, and in this video I'll be answering question 9d, which is asking us to sketch the graphs of each of the following relations stating the maximal domain and range of each. So here we've been given x equals y minus 3 squared plus 1. Now, what we're going to do first is make it so that I have y equals, because at the moment it being x equals is really quite difficult to graph. So I'm going to minus 1 from both sides, which is going to leave me with x minus 1 equals y minus 3 squared. I then am going to square root both sides, so I will have the square root of x minus 1 equals y minus 3. It's important to note that this is going to be plus or minus the square root. Next thing I'll do is plus 3 to both sides in order to get rid of this on this side. So I'm going to be left with plus or minus the square root of x minus 1 plus 3 equals y. So that will be, if I was to now put my y on the left hand side just for aesthetic reasons, just to make it a little bit more pleasing to the eye, x minus 1 plus 3. So this is what I have to graph. Now it's important to note that this is almost like graphing two square root graphs. So I'm going to have over here y equals plus the square root of x minus 1 plus 3, and I will also have over here y equals minus the square root of x minus 1 plus 3. So let's begin by graphing y equals the square root of x minus 1 plus 3. So let me come up here and give it a sketch. So this will be my y-axis, this is my x-axis. The way that I'll go about this is by first considering what will y equal the square root of x look like. Y equals the square root of x is going to look like this. So therefore, if I were to now minus a 1, that's going to shift it. That will shift it 1 in the positive x direction, like this. If I were then to plus 3, that's going to shift it 3 in the positive y direction. So I'm going to grab it and go 1, 2, 3. Now I need to graph y equals minus the square root of x minus 1 plus 3. Now that is just going to be this, but shifted in the, it's going to be this, but reflected in my x-axis. There we go, reflected in my x-axis. So I grab this, and I'm going to go there. And as you can see, I've crossed my x-axis, so I'm going to have to solve that. So I'm going to write my x int. To solve my x int, I will let y equal 0. Now here's something important. We're going to try to make this as easy for ourselves as possible. So it's actually going to be rather quite difficult to use this. So I'm going to set y equal to 0, then there's a lot of rearranging involved. Or if I wanted to, I could simply take this, in which I already have it in terms of x equals, so it's going to be far easier for me to solve. So let me just take this, x equals y minus 3 squared plus 1, come down, I'm going to set y equal to 0, so I'm going to set y equal to 0, so get rid of that and put a 0 there. Now this is the same as x equals minus 3 squared plus 1. So x equals x equals 9. Let me try that again. X equals 9 plus 1. So x is going to be equal to 10. So now I come up here and I can say this is going to be 10, 0. Now it's important to note that while I've put this as two different colors, they are the same graph. They are the same graph. I've simply done this for explaining it. And we also need to put in this point here, because that's going to help us when we're figuring out the domain and range. This will be 1, 3, 1, 3. So let's now figure out what my domain and range will be. My domain is going to be all the possible values of x, and as you can see here, my first x value is going to be 1, and then it's going to go to infinity. So it's going to be including 1 to infinity. My range will be all my real numbers, And that's because these lines right here are going to positive infinity in the y direction and negative infinity in the negative y direction. So they're going up, and down. So my domain will be 1 to infinity and my range will be all real numbers. Hopefully this is helpful in answering 9D of exercise 5B.